Welcome to the Mendeley 102, Advanced Techniques for Researchers. We will be recording this session, and we have muted everyone upon entry, so we would ask that you please go ahead if you have questions and put them in the chat box. We'll save time for answering questions at the end of this session. Our presenter today is Dr. D.J. Kaiser. He's Associate Professor and Coordinator of Teaching English as a Second Language for the School of Education here at Webster University. Dr. Kaiser is one of the people on campus who uses Mendeley probably most and with the most effect. Behind the scenes, my name is Mary Ann Irwin. So if you have questions about this webinar series, you may contact me. So Dr. Kaiser today is going to tell us about building a workflow of good habits that will help you to use Mendeley more efficiently. So entering sources into Mendeley, fixing your bibliographic information, for which you'll be thankful later, and he's going to show you why, how to organize citations and documents using folders and tags and annotate and add notes, and how to write and cite using the Microsoft Word Mendeley plugin. I'm going to turn the mic over to Dr. Kaiser now. No, he'll be okay. Do you share your screen?
All right, thank you. Today I'll be taking you through some different ways that you can use Mendeley. This right here is my Mendeley database.
If you can hear, DJ, can you go ahead and chat in the box and tell us that you can hear okay? Please.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and get going. So this is my Mendeley desktop version. I have literally hundreds of articles in this, and I can scroll through and you can see, and I have things organized. What I'll be doing is taking you through a workflow to make it easier to use Mendeley in your everyday use. So first of all, what you'll need to do is you'll need to search for articles. So you can start with the Webster University website. You can also use Google search. You can also look up different information in WorldCat when you have a book in hand. What I'm going to start out with is showing you I had two articles come in through interlibrary loan that I've not put into Mendeley yet. So I'll show you how I actually put these in. So I'm going to start out here with this email that came in, and I'm going to click on the link that I received from the library, which will take me to the Webster University website, and I'm already logged in. When I'm on this site, I need to go under View and then click on Electronically Received Articles. Now on this page, you can see that I've received numerous articles recently, and the one that just came in, if I scroll back and look at my email, is from Baronis and Gass, Miscommunications in Native Non-Native Conversation, which is this second to last article here. So I will click on View, and this will bring up the PDF of the article. Now, one of the things you'll notice with this article is as I click on it, it will not allow me to highlight different information. So this is a big part of the workflow that we need to start with. So first of all, I'm going to download this article. So I need to move something out of the way here, and if I can double click on the article. Now using Adobe Acrobat, I'm going to do a text recognition. So when you're in Adobe Acrobat, you want to click on the tools right up here on the top right-hand corner, and then there's text recognition. And under text recognition, I'll click in this file. So I'll click this and click OK. And now it's going to take a moment and go through each page and do an OCR, which is an optical scan, so that I will then be able to search the article, but this will also allow me to be able to highlight the article. Make sure that you do this before you save an article into your Mendeley database, because if you do not, it will treat every page as if it's a picture, and you won't be able to interact with the text at all. And so as we see here, this article is 18 pages long, so it's not going to take too long for it to save. So now I have this saved, or now I have it scanned, and I'm going to save a copy of this right now onto my desktop. So I'm just going to call it Voronus and Gas on the desktop. And then I'm going to move this article to the top right-hand corner. The reason why is I'm going to go into Mendeley. There are different ways to add documents into Mendeley when you're working with PDFs. One of the easy ways to do it is with a drag and drop. So if I take the article and simply drag it into my all documents, you see here there's a little plus sign. This shows me that it's going to add the document. And now, right away, this document has shown up in my database. If I double click on it, now here I can see the document, and I can also see that I've done the scan, the OCR scan, so that I can highlight different things in the document. Now the next big thing that we need to do anytime we bring in a new article is to check all of the bibliographic information that is here on the right-hand side. This is important because once we start to use Mendeley as a tool for citing work and also for building our bibliographies, we need to make sure that everything is correct. As we see here, this is a slightly older article, so it's not pulled in all of the bibliographic information. So the first thing I need to make sure is that the type of article is correct. Here, this is a journal article, so this is correct. Now, the title actually pulled in incorrectly. So I'm going to change the title of this article to Miscommunication in Native/Non-Native Conversation. I highly recommend that when you type in the titles of these that you use sentence case, because if you convert to MLA, it will convert it to title case for you, but it will not do the reverse. So I've learned that the best thing to do is to use sentence case, which is where the first letter is in capital, but then everything else is lowercase. Now here I see that only one of the two authors is in here. So I've got Susan M. Gass. So what I need to do is I'm going to add a line above, and now I'm going to type in Voronus's name. So Voronus, comma, Evangeline Marlos. So now I have two different authors that are here. So always double check those. Sometimes it can pull in the wrong information or there's a typo. Now the nice thing is when I received this article, it included a lot of the bibliographic information that I need. One of them is the title of the journal, which is Language in Society. So now, and that is right here, it says Language in Society, and I also see at the top here it's showing me Language in Society. So I will type in Language in Society. Here I can see that I've already entered in a work from Language in Society. So if I have that, I can simply select that from the list. This was published in 1985, as we see here, but here it's saying 1972. So I need to change this to 1985. The volume right here is volume 14. So I type in volume 14. The issue right here shows issue 3. I do issue 3. I can also check the bibliographic information here at the top in the header of the article itself. And then I need to include the page numbers. The page numbers are included here in this first page that came with it, and also in the header of the article itself. You can also do a copy and then paste, if that makes it easier for you. Another thing that I like to do is I will delete what is under the citation key, because here it says GAS 1972, and that's actually incorrect. If I delete this out, if you watch in just 1 second, boom, it's going to update the bibliographic information for the citation key. So now I've been able to put this into my database. The next thing that I want to do is I see that this is marked as unsorted, so it's not been put into a folder yet. Currently, I'm working on a project on video conference assisted language learning, so I'm going to place this into the folder that is my supported SLA theory, which is second language acquisition theory. And all I have to do is drag the article into supported SLA theory. And you can see right here, it's going to add this into this folder. If I want to, I can add this to actually more than one folder. So I have another folder, which is general ELT theory. And all I have to do, oops, I clicked on the folder, so it's going to go over to that folder. So all I have to do is go back up to my recently added articles. And now I'm going to add this article also to my general ELT theory articles. Now I can see what's highlighted in the left-hand side, that this particular article is in both supported SLA theory and in general ELT theory articles. So that's one way to add an article by dragging and dropping it into Mendeley. Now I'll show you another fun thing that you can use, which I use a lot. If you go into the preferences in Mendeley, click on the tab Watched Folders. With Watched Folders, you look on your desktop, and as you see here, Dropbox is marked with a little box. That's because I've selected within my Dropbox, in a folder that I call Article Library, I have a folder that's called New Articles. So New Articles is checked here. What this means is anytime I place a PDF into this folder, it will automatically bring that PDF into Mendeley. So again, this is a big time saver rather than saving it onto the desktop and then dragging and dropping it. So if we go back and I see I have another article that came in by Terhune. So I will go back to the library website, and the article by Terhune I can view here. I will download this article. Now this new article as I see here, I can highlight information. This shows me that an OCR scan has already been done, or when they saved this, it saved the information on all the individual words, so I can search individual words in the document. So I don't need to run a scan on this. So all I need to do is save this. But this time I'm going to save it into my watched folder. So I'll do a quick save as, and I will go into my Dropbox. I go to Article Library and New Articles. And I will call this one Terhune. If I spelled it correctly, yes. And hit save. Now, as we see here in my recently added articles, the article is here right away. I double click on the article, and now this is a newer article which has the bibliographic information right here so that I can double check that all the information is correct. So the title of the author, Language Learning Going Global. What I do want to do is do a capital L after the colon. That's how I have done it in my citations. The author's name is correct here. The journal's name is correct with computer-assisted language learning. The year, this is telling me that this article was published in 2016, and if I look at both copies of this article, this is telling me 2016, so I do need to double check, and now I will change this from 2015, which I automatically brought in, to 2016. The volume, it says 8,221. That's probably not correct. So if I go back to the bibliographic information, here I see both in what's listed on this first page and at the top of the article in the header is that it's volume 29 and the issue number is 6. The pages are not 1 through 21. So again, I'm going to put in what the page numbers are from the article, which is 1071 through 1089. So now I've added this. Everything's correct. This is a journal article. So everything is there. So now I've got this new article which is on CMCs. I have a folder here on CMCs, which are computer-mediated communication. Thank you. So I will just drag and drop this article here. What this allows me to do with the various folders is I have multiple articles here, and I can see what are all the different articles I have in this one folder, and then I have shorter subfolders. So if I only want to look at my articles on blended learning, my articles on computer-assisted language learning, my articles on CMCs, distance education, etc. Now, what happens if I have a book that I'm holding in my hand, and that needs to log back in. I think it might have gone to sleep, and so just in case, there we go. Okay. So I have a book now that I would like to add into a particular folder. This is a book by Gottesman. I'm going to go into a different folder here, which is EDD Critical Readings. In order to add a book, because I can't drag and drop a book that I'm physically holding into my Mendeley as much as I would like to, I will go to File and Add Entry manually. Once I get this, I will get a new document window here, and I will start out by selecting the type of work it is. Here it's going to be a book. And now what I'm doing is I'm using WorldCat. WorldCat.org is a great website to look up information on different books. And here I can do copy and paste of information. So I will copy and paste the title of the book and make a little bit of an adjustment to the title. I'm going to copy and paste the author's name. And as you see here, it goes ahead and it reformats the author's name as appropriate. This was published in 2016. There will not be a volume or page number for this, but what I do need is city and the publisher because this is a book. So here it's showing me that it was published in New York and it's by Routledge. So for publisher, I will put in Routledge. And for city, I will put in New York. Now here I will get all the bibliographic information for this book. I will not be able to double click it to get to see the article as I can for others. So on this left-hand side, you can see here, if you see the PDF icon, that shows you that I have a PDF of it. If there's not, that means that I do not have a PDF of it stored. Another thing that you can do is you can save, if you're working with websites. So one project I've been working on in South America, I've had a lot of, oh, actually I do have it opened right here. So this is a web page. If we see the type, it's web page. So I printed a PDF of the website. This way I can easily go back and find it in my Mendeley database, and I can also keep all the bibliographic information that's needed. Here I've got the URL, which will be needed for citation. Sometimes you will need a date accessed. The nice thing is when you print these, it shows me the date that I accessed it. If I need that, what I can do is under date accessed, I can put 2/1/2015, and now it will reformat the date accessed for me, and it will pull that information into my references. Okay. So far what we've done is we've looked at multiple ways that we can bring in articles by dragging and dropping using the watch folder. We saw how to manually add a book, and then also how we can add a website by including it as a PDF, which we would add just as we would as a drag and drop or using the watch folder. With that, we want to make sure that anytime we bring something in, that we are double checking all the bibliographic information to make sure that that is correct. Then I started to show you putting articles into folders. So you can always check with your unsorted folder to see which articles do not yet have a folder and start working with those. Or you start working with a specific folder. So if I go back down to this particular folder here of some research, another way that I can keep myself organized is by using tags. Sometimes when you bring in an article, it will have the author's keywords that come in, but you can put in your own. So this is an article that deals with data, it deals with Uruguay, and then the project Civil en Inglés that I have been researching. Here I've not added in tags, but I know that this article is dealing with Uruguay. So I would type in Uruguay, comma, and I know that it's also dealing with video conference, and I've been using IVC, which is interactive video conference, as my tag. So as I go through, I'm able to add different tags. Here's an article about Uruguay that deals with EFL, which is English as a foreign language. Here's another article that deals with Ceval. So different tags if tags are a way that help you stay organized. The other thing that also really helps me stay organized, if I go back to this large folder here for this new article I'm working on, there are these green dots. A green dot means that it is unread. If the green dot is a small gray dot, this means that I've already read the article. So what I will do is I will take a day and say, today I'm going to work on my articles on blended learning. As you can see, right here I have all of my articles on blended learning, and I have read all of these articles because there are no green dots. But if I go down to my IVC folder, Interactive Video Conference, I see that I have many new articles that I haven't read yet. These will have the green dots. So as I'm working through, another thing that you can do is when you're reading an article, oh, here's an article that actually I had started reading, so let's try another one. As you're reading, you can also do highlighting within Mendeley. So for that, I will simply highlight a piece of text, and then right here, I will click on Highlight this text. Once I do that, this will sync across any of my devices that I use from Mendeley. You're also able to add notes. So you can add a note right here, just a note. So that is another thing that you can do. As I do my work, I've been using an external app that's only available for iOS devices, which is called Papership for Mendeley. And with Papership for Mendeley, it allows me to highlight on my iPad, and then I can do other types of notes in the margins. So that, and then I can delete notes as I see fit. So delete this note, and I'm going to go ahead and delete this highlighting for right now until I come back. So now I'm going to show you how do we actually work with Mendeley in a Word document. This is probably the most important thing that we want to learn how to do. So for this, I've created a sample text. And what we'll do is we'll go through and using the Word plugin, which gives me this, this menu up here, I can put in different information. So here I'm going to say numerous works have addressed the concept of critical pedagogy. I'm going to replace this now with an in-text citation where I want to cite multiple works. So I've placed the cursor where I want the citation to go, and I will click on Insert or Edit Citation. So here I'm going to take a look at Paulo Freire, and I want his 1979 work. Let's take a look at Giraud, and he was writing about this in his Ideology Culture. I'll take a look at Apple also wrote in Ideology and Curriculum. And let's go ahead and add one more by Apple. And let's see, the adequacy of systems management. Now once I click OK, it's going to enter in my in-text citation. So here I see it has Apple with the 2 different dates because I've got 2 citations from Apple, Giraud, and then I've got 2 from Giraud. And then we just added Gottesman, so let's go ahead and add Gottesman. Oh, sorry, let me show you how to do this. If we need to fix this, I will click on the citation, and you see now it's highlighted in gray. Now I go back up, and I click on Insert or Edit Citation. Now I get this window. Now I can type in Gottesman. I click on this and hit OK. Now quickly it will add Gottesman to my citation. So moving on through this paragraph, now I have a quotation that I've put in here. So I've introduced Henry Giraud, as being the person who introduced Paulo Freire to North America. But I want to talk about Freire's concept of conscientization. And to define conscientization, I'm using a quote that's from Giraud. So if I go back and look at my Mendeley, I've pulled up this article here. And this is actually, and I need to be able to select, so I'm going to click on the select. So I can highlight it and show you, this is what I've typed into my document, is this as my quote. So I'm going to replace this with an in-text citation. The information that I'll need to know is that this is Giraud, and it's from 1979, but I also need to know the page number. So this is page 266. It's not highlighting, but that's okay. So with my cursor in the correct place, I will click Insert or Edit Citation. I'll type in Giraud, and I know it's 1979, so I can type in 1979, and then I can select the work. When we're trying to select works, you can type in the year. You can also start to type in the title. So I know that it's Giraud, and I know that Freire is in the title, so that's another way that I can pull up the same work, and then I click on it. Now if I click OK, it's going to insert the citation, but I have an in-text citation, or I have a quotation here. Because I have quoted material, I have to have a page citation. But it didn't show me a place to put page, and sometimes people miss this. So I highlight this again in gray, and I click on Insert or Edit Citation. The way to insert the page number is click back on the name of the author. Now I can put in the page number, 266, click OK, and now it has changed my citation, so I have Giraud, 1979, page 266. Now sometimes as a writer, I want to emphasize something. So let's say that I want to emphasize the political contradictions and the oppressive reality. So I'm putting this in italics. For citation, I need to show that I'm the one who's added the emphasis here. So I'll click back on my citation, make sure it's in gray, click on Insert or Edit Citation. Now what I can do here is under suffix, so this will come after the citation, I will put comma, emphasis added. Click OK. Now the emphasis has been added. Let's say if, for example, I just wanted to, and I'll put it down here, have a citation. Actually, I'll just put it right here. Just for fun, we'll put it after this sentence. Let's say I want Gottesman, and as a prefix, I can put see also. Now that adds in the see also before, because I've placed see also in the prefix section here on the same page where I would put the page number. Now I've decided I want to insert some more quotes here. So I've got later feminist scholars would provide their own critique of critical pedagogy. So this will be another place where I will add a few authors. So I have the cursor where I want to insert the citation. I click Insert, Edit Citation, and I'll put Ellsworth. Why does this feel empowering? And then I also want Wheeler. I click these two, and now I get another citation of these two. Now I've decided I'm going to actually cite Wheeler. Here's where it becomes important. When I'm citing Wheeler, here I've got Wheeler's name. If I want to cite Wheeler, I do Insert Citation, I type in Wheeler, I find her, I click OK. I've got her input, but now I get Wheeler twice. What I can do here is if I click back on Wheeler, on the citation and click on Insert or Edit Citation. I click back on the author's name. There's this little checkbox here where I put Suppress Author. If I check Suppress Author, now Wheeler's name disappears. Now you might think, well, why don't I just type 1991? The reason why you do not want to type 1991 and why you always want to use Mendeley and the word plugin is because I'm going to show you in just a moment, this will automatically generate your reference list for you. And this is going to amaze you because it will save you so much time. So trust me on this, but it's a big thing. Make sure that every time you have a year citation after the author's name, that you use the word plugin to input this information. So now, using Mendeley, I've decided that I want to quote Wheeler, and I have Wheeler's article pulled up here. And I've selected the actual text that I want to use. So here I'm going to highlight the text, and I'm going to copy the text. And because all of my PDFs are searchable, now all I have to do is here in between the quotation marks, I do a paste. And now it has pasted this quote, and it saves me time from typing it. All I have to do is fix where there was a hyphenation that was there. Now, because I have an in-text, or because I have because I have quoted material, I need to include a page reference. So I know this is where I copied the information. I scroll up. I don't see a page number. I scroll down. Here I see it's on page 451. I do need to manually here put page 451. So now that I've done all this work,
DJ, why didn't you need to use the Mendeley citation insert in-text citation for that page number?
That's a good question. The in-text citation manager, it will only do it for the author's name and year. It can also do the page number if the page number will show up within the same parenthetical citation. So if you are doing Chicago style, the page reference will go along with the year always. So in that case, it would go, and that's another way to do it. But when we do APA, because APA places the page citation after the quoted material, you do have to do that manually. And that's a really good question and an important one to think about as you transition between different styles. So the next thing I'll show you is how do we add a reference list. All I'm going to do is put references, and now there's this little button here, Insert Bibliography. I will click this, and right away it generates all the references that I have included in this short paper. Now the nice thing is, let's say that I decide I don't want to cite all of these things by Apple. So if we look right now, I've got 2 works by Michael Apple. If I come up here and if I remove one of the works from Michael Apple, so here it's highlighted, I click delete. I've got one less work from Apple. It automatically updates my references and gets rid of it. So here's the important thing here. If I change this reference, so let's get rid of Wheeler right now, Wheeler will still show up in my references because I used the citation plugin in order to put 1991. But if I delete this and say, no, I can type it in myself, now all of a sudden once I do a refresh, Wheeler disappears from my reference list. So this shows me, oops, I need to go back. And I'm going to again put in Wheeler. I click back on the author's name, the press author. Now once I've got this in as a citation, now Wheeler magically appears on my reference list again. Wheeler magically appears on my reference. So those are some quick and helpful tools while you were using Mendeley.
DJ, can you show us how to change citation style?
I most absolutely can. So right now you'll see in the menu, it's on American Psychological Association. Let's say that I need to change this to MLA. And so I don't have MLA loaded in this. Let's see if I happen to. So what I'm going to do is here. I will show you that I'm going to more styles from this drop down, and I will select Modern Language Association 7th edition. So I click on this. Use the style. Done. And now what it's done is it has automatically changed to MLA, where it has Ellsworth without the year. I can also change it to Chicago style, which I don't have here right now. So I'll go back to Add Styles. So let's go ahead and do Chicago Manual Style 16th edition. Use this style. Done. Now it will convert. Now that it's converted this, what I do need to make sure that I do is we had with APA we put the page number afterwards. So if I've written a paper, now I need to go back and I need to add the page reference here. So I'll click on the year reference, and I will actually put the page number of 451. And now I can remove the page reference from here.
Thank you, DJ.
You're welcome.
All right. DJ, just in case, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and stop sharing your screen.
All right.
And I'm going to take back the presenter. And I'm just checking to make sure we don't have any questions in our chat. So if you're still with us and you have questions, please go ahead and type them in the chat. And we're a bit over, so I don't see any questions in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to sign off. And please do let us know if you, please contact the library if you have questions. Thank you for joining us.